Hello everybody, this is Edward and welcome back to another game of Minecraft. How is everyone? I hope you're all having a beautiful day, a beautiful night, or a beautiful evening. Oh boy, well, yeah, I'm just going to deal with this madness right here. Goodness me, well, it has been a very long time since I've stayed awake in Minecraft during the night, but I'm just determined to see whether or not if the witch has respawned, and if she has, I will take over a name tag to give her a name so she doesn't despawn again. As soon as I can find my way out this forest here. Lots of wood for me to eventually cut down, but not just yet. I'm not wanting to do any chopping just yet. And we're going to have to go across our little lily pad bridge. I mean, if she was here, I would hear her. But also, if she threw a potion at me, I don't think the shield would do all too much. So, anyway, no witch yet, which is a bit saddening, but is life. There we go. We certainly have a few other mobs spawning around here. I wonder if I light up this area and the remaining area, but leave the witch's hut unlit, maybe then that would encourage witches to spawn. I do not know. Maybe a flower to no. You know what? I'm just trying to think. Maybe there's something that I'm missing here. Something that she probably wants that will encourage her to come over. But let me just deal with this creeper just now. So I've been reading a book. I've been reading a few books at the moment, actually. The one I was reading this afternoon is called Angela's Ashes. And if you haven't read it, it's a great book. It was turned into a great movie. It certainly makes you very appreciative of what you have in life, because there's a story... Oh, dear me, I drowned. That scared me. There's a story about a very young boy in Ireland, a long time ago, and his family is the poorest of the poor, and is a very, very sad story. The movie's very good. I saw the movie first, and then I thought, you know what, I'm going to read the book. And I got the book a long time ago, but I never did read it. I read halfway, and then I kind of stopped. That's a thing I do for some reason. There we go. Okay. Just maybe decorating the house might make it a bit more enticing for the witch to spawn, I'm hoping. But I want to put one more on this side, on the other side. I'm thinking maybe I'll tear down one of these. I can. There we go. But yes, Angela's Ashes, a great book to read. I'm also reading another book which was given to me as a present. I watched HBO's Chernobyl, and I've always been fascinated by Chernobyl. I think a lot of people do have a morbid fascination about it. It's a very unusual story, and not unusual, it's a very scary story, unusual and most bizarre. Yes, the HBO series, excellently written, amazing acting, and the scene work is just absolutely unbelievable. I saw it last time I was on a plane. This was before the whole COVID-19 happened. I was traveling to where was I going to South Western Europe. Sorry, I just had to think there. And yes, it was they had the whole series on the airplane flight over there, and it was a very long flight, maybe 18 hours, I think, I don't know. And so I was able to watch the whole mini-series, and it is an astonishingly good series. It is terrifying, and it shows the bureaucracy of the communist government in the USSR back then, and I'm sure a lot of governments like that still have nowadays. But yeah, great series to watch if you ever get the chance. Other than that, yes, that's right, the book. So I'm reading Midnight at Chernobyl at the moment. And I've forgotten the author's name, embarrassingly enough. And so I'm watching that, and it's a great book. It certainly goes into certain details that the TV show misses. So certainly a very enjoyable read, and I didn't mean to put that string down there, but I did. Okay, I've lost the plot. I don't know where the string goes. There. Okay, get rid of that zombie flesh. Don't need that. So yes, I didn't read my first novel till I was 17. And, very depressing, I know. I never read any books, even though I was supposed to in school. I suffered terribly from dyslexia. And I was never diagnosed with it. And I just kind of slipped through the cracks over the years and in the education system, and so people didn't really worry about it because no one really knew. And unfortunately, I did miss out on a lot of chances to read, and reading I've fallen in love with reading again these last couple of months. I read a lot. When I started to find out how much I enjoyed books, I started to read a lot. And I remember... I don't remember the first real novel I read. It was for school. It was year 11. And you know what? I said, this is the first novel I'm going to read, and I'm going to do it. And it took me a long time, even though it was just a high school novel, set by the Board of Studies, who govern the education system in New South Wales. What was the name of that book? It was a very Australian book talking about a white family living in... kind of on the outskirts of in a community that has Indigenous Australians, and them witnessing the racism that's still prevalent in society at that point in time. And it is a very good book to read. As soon as I found out the name, I'll let you guys know what it is. Oh dear, sorry, beg my pardon. I didn't mean to hit the microphone. There we go. Oh dear, well, let's see. Oh, you guys are still going out. Got some bees here still, which is nice. But, yes, didn't read my first novel till I was 17, and what got me to really start reading was it just came a point in my life where I just said, I need to read, and it's important, and I've got to get over this thing of not reading. And, as I say, the dyslexia really crippled me, unfortunately, so it did make... My education did suffer a lot because of it, and because of the divorce and me having to change schools time and time again because I kept moving around after the divorce. It just wasn't really picked up on, so I just managed to get away with it, and I was just a kid. I didn't want to worry about that kind of stuff. But now that I'm older, I'm certainly enjoying reading, and I'm reading those two books at the moment, and I was reading a book called Aussie by a lady. I think her name was Sue Clawford or something along those lines. She wrote an unauthorized biography on Ozzy Osbourne, and it is a good read again. And I got halfway through that, but I put it down now to read the other two that I'm getting through. Yes, but if you do get the chance to read Angela's Ashes, it really does make you very appreciative of the times we live in, because it is a very, very sad story, and I swell up with tears whenever I read it, because it's just what that family had to go through was just absolutely devastating. But it was a shame that I didn't get to read until I was older. And I used to read a bit. I remember what changed it all was one day I had a little book from because I had books for some reason, but I never read them. And there's this one book from the movie Flubber with Robin Williams, and it's kind of like the movie turned into a book that's like, I don't know, 60 pages long, and it's really easy to read. But as I say, I struggled a lot with reading, but I picked up this book that I still had laying around from when I was a young kid, and I said, if I can read this today, I can prove to myself that I can read. So I got through it all. I struggled a lot, but I managed to get through from cover to cover in a day, and I said, I did this, I can actually read, I'm not as dumb as I think I am. And from that point on, I knew I could finish a book, because 60 pages is nothing nowadays, and I've certainly read my fair share now, but I'm certainly trying to make up for it now, all those years ago when I was not reading. I'm just trying to think how on earth I'm going to get the iron golem out of there, but I don't think I can. Not without removing all the sheep anyway. It's a shame you can't lead iron golems away. But, oh well. nothing to worry about just yet. We got this one over here taking a bath. Come on, Iron Golem. It doesn't look... I thought, to be honest with you, I thought Iron Golems got damaged when they're in the water, but I guess not. I know they certainly begin to put on a... Do you want to... Yeah, hello, do you want to come out? Just trying to think if there's anything I can use to get him out here, but maybe if I used water... pushed him away. I was hoping it might use them to elevate him up there, but mobs don't do that anymore, do they? Oh, there we go. Just needed a little bit of encouragement. You know what, I'm going to make a edge here to make it easier for anything that decides to try and come out of the water. So, yes, reading is good fun. It's certainly a lot of fun. And, do kids still read nowadays? I don't know. Kids seem to want to do everything that adults do, that's for certain. And I've seen kids with Fitbits that I think they know really what to do with them, and watching Family Guy and stuff like that. I mean, real young kids, like under the age of... I was on an airplane, again, and on an airplane. I don't fly all that often, but for some reason, every story today has to be about airplanes. I was on an airplane, and these two kids, one must have been about 4 or 5, and another one was, I don't know, 7 or 8, and they were on a plane. The parents were behind them in 2 seats, and they had 2 seats of their own, and they were watching Family Guy, and I had headphones plugged in, obviously, and they were watching it and colouring in, or I don't know what they were doing. And I was thinking, my heavens, goodness me, there are so many extraordinarily rude grown-up jokes in that show that these young kids should not be watching, because I know Quagmire and all those kind of jokes are very rude, aren't they? So, oh well, a bee. Sorry, I got a bit excited there. A little bee hiding in that. Oh, dearie me, now they're coming into this part of the map. I guess this is easier than them getting lost in the field. Just got to grab a flower to rescue this bee here. And now I've got a horse in the graveyard. Okay, this is... okay, come on, horsey, we're going to come out this way. I'm going to grab myself a flower. Right, so, yes, but yeah, I hope kids still read. Reading opens you up to a whole new world, which you certainly, I think, people lose the appreciation for. But, yeah. And I remember I talked about my parents' divorce. Well, they were my parents. I guess both are correct, but I think my parents, considering they were my parents, would be more correct given the circumstances. Yeah, I mostly put on a lot of my weight straight after the divorce. I became a bit of a shut-in. I didn't really go to school all that much. I was horrendously bullied when I did go to school, and because I was so quiet and timid, I was a very easy target, unfortunately. And I was completely against violence. I still am, of any kind. I must admit, in-game with a zombie and in Minecraft with a sword, well, obviously it's a game, but I don't feel bad if it's a zombie that's trying to kill me. Though some games get a little bit too realistic for my liking. One of them was, what was that movie? Like, is it Friday the 13th? The one with Jason, the big tall guy with the hockey mask and the machete. Granted, he's probably one of the coolest looking supernatural horror villains. It's definitely one of the biggest icons, him and Freddy Krueger. But they brought out a game, I think it was Friday the 13th, I can't remember, it was such a long time ago. They brought out a game about him, and the trailer was just horrific. People, I don't want to go into details, but there was just a moment where it just seemed a lot bit too realistic for me at one point, and I had to stop watching. I felt absolutely sick looking at all this horrible violence and people getting hurt and worse. But you know what? I don't want to dwell. I don't want to go into horrible details like that. I want to keep things nice while we're here. But where was I going with this? I've completely forgotten now. Oh yes, the divorce. How the heck did I get from the divorce to the Jason killer? The divorce. Yes, I put on a lot of weight, and I yeah, didn't go to school. I was in a very bad place, and dear oh me, yes, I think food was my friend, because yeah, the bullying in school. So I used to eat, and because of that, I got bigger, and so the bigger I got, the more I was bullied. Um, yeah, it was a bit of a hard time for me, and it didn't help that immediately after the divorce, my mother accused my father of something absolutely horrendous, and we had to keep going to. I had to keep going. Well, he had to go to court. I had to keep going to court as well, because I don't know why my father made me do that. To be honest, maybe he was trying to play the sympathy vote, which I hope he wasn't, because making a child have to go through that is a terrible, terrible thing. But yes, I went to court many a times. I didn't actually go into the courtroom, but I was given a carer and would sit there, and every time we would go there, I would keep thinking, geez, is this the last time I'm going to see my dad? Is he going to be locked in jail now? And this happened for months and months and months, and it was very, very distressing. And luckily, in the end, my father was found innocent due to a complete lack of evidence, and I don't want to say anything bad about my mother, but I'll just repeat kind of what the judge said, which was that all evidence was kind of fabricated. It was a very bitter divorce, and well, medically, my father was incapable of doing what my mother accused him. So, yes. Geez, hello, little fella. I thought I'd be talking about something nice, but I went on to this. Divorce is never usually a nice thing, but the good thing is, I think my father was in a happier place afterwards, but he kind of got married a few too many times, and made life difficult for him again. But 1, 2, 3, 4, there we go. But my mother, she dated off and on, and after the divorce, and she eventually found a man who is a very nice gentleman, and I'm very happy to call him my father, my stepfather. Well, he is my father. He's very nice to my mother, and my mother and him are very happy together, and I certainly am happy to have him as a part of my family. So my mother seems to be has done quite well, also things considering. I mean, this was many years ago. This is when the divorce happened. So I certainly am not upset with her anymore, considering so much bad things were happening at that time. But my father, as I say, he remarried 3 times, and certainly is worse. No better for it. That's for certain. Had he stayed with the first woman he met after the divorce, I think he would have been in a much better position now. But in saying that, I wouldn't have my current half-sister, and I love her to bits, and we're very close, so everything happens for a reason, and I like to think that everything happens so she could be a part of our family as well. And she's in high school at the moment, or she was until high school closed down, but she's certainly smarter than me, I must admit. Though I've worked in a toy store, and I never want to work in customer service ever again. As much as I'm polite, you get very rude people that think that the world owes them everything, and that they should be allowed to do whatever they want, even if it is be abusive to a shop assistant. And yes, I've had my fair share of abuse, that's for certain, when working in a store. But these kind of people, usually they're very, very not happy with the way things are, so you got to feel sorry for them, because really every day isn't a good day for them. So you just want to help these people. If I can make them be happy, then that's a good thing. But anyway, I'm digressing here. Working in a store, I've lost all track of mind. What on earth was I talking about before? Dearie me. So anyway, my father, he remarried a few times, and yes, that's what I was talking about. A lot of parents will say that, or grandparents, or even aunties and uncles will say, this kid is the smartest kid you'll ever meet in the world. They know all their times tables and they're only 2, and it's funny, and it can really exaggerate it and get a good laugh out of it. But my half-sister, she is incredibly smart. She's only just started high school, and she wants to be an astrophysicist. I can't even say it. Astrophysicist. She loves space, and I'm definitely trying to encourage that. I gave her a book about a really good kind of grown-up book about space and everything that goes on in space. And I went through a phase where I was mad about space and space travel and other solar systems. I can build these things almost without thinking about it, which is scary now. I've gotten so used to building the homes. But yeah, space is fascinating, and the more you learn about it, the more fascinating it becomes. Especially when you look into things like how time is affected by gravity, because everyone thinks time is just time, but it really isn't. Time is, I guess time is just time. Time can bend, which is astounding when you think about it, because time that you experience here on Earth is different to what time can be experienced elsewhere. And, there we go, let's get that nice and straight. And as such, I mean, even something that very, very clever people discovered was that satellites in space that are in our orbit around the Earth, the ones that we put up there, they can get out of sync from Earth, because the further you are from a mass, a gravitational mass like Earth, the faster things go, I guess, relative to us. So yes, the clocks were getting out of sync, so the very smart people had to figure out all the maths to kind of get the time right on the satellites. So, but yes, it's time in space is an incredibly cool thing if you ever want to look into it. And if given a second chance at life, I would certainly study my mathematics and probably get into physics and astrophysics and all that kind of stuff, because space is an astounding thing and it will never end, knowing how big it is. Just our own solar system's big enough, let alone our galaxy, and the entire universe itself will take forever to look through, won't it? But anyway, that's enough for today. Thank you for joining me, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.